That's
you
wrong.
know what? There was a time where we as black people wasn't so damn mousy and silent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to get back to opening up our mouths and shouting what we know is truth and fact and right. You know what I mean? Like, we walking around saying, well, it is what it is, so I'm not going to worry about it. Or it ain't going to change, so I'm not going to try. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, for real.
It makes a difference, man, when you speak.
What did Martin Luther King say? Ain't nothing going to change.
That's, and Malcolm spoke so loud that they had to take him out. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we can get back to that. We have to, man. Like, something got to change. I mean, we just seen the school incident with the police and the little girl, man. Like, the same thing, man.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was where I was going next. And so, for those folks who have literally been living under a rock for the last week, tell us a little bit more about that incident.
I didn't actually look at the whole video or know what the whole outcome was, but far as I could see was this police officer came into the classroom and pretty much just manhandled this little young girl. It was a tough scene, and some people really took that to heart. I mean, the police officer got fired, but at the end of the day, is firing him enough?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just
to kind of completely set it up, Jay and Rube, basically what it was a young 15-year-old girl, young black girl who was in the class, and allegedly she had her cell phone, wouldn't put it away. There was some that said that she was unruly in the class. There was some that said that she basically was silent. My personal opinion, what she was doing, just sitting there, doesn't really matter. She basically was not paying attention to what the teacher said. And when the teacher said, all right, it's time for you to go, she refused. And it ended up being a situation where the resource officer by the name of Ben Fields, who's also a police officer in South Carolina, came into the classroom, ordered her to leave. She refused. And then there was the incident that occurred where he basically snatched her out of the chair and basically threw her across the room to a stunned class. Classroom was in awe. Basically, she got in trouble for having a cell phone in the class, but we know what happened because other kids had cell phones in the freaking class.
Right.
How about that? And you got this white man throwing a black girl across the room, and you got a black teacher standing there doing nothing.
Right.
Doing absolutely nothing. Now, let me just say this. I've talked on this show about common sense versus law and order. I'm very, very clear on my position on that. Right. I don't care about your laws. I'm governed by common sense. And some laws are common sense and others aren't. Now, I'm not going to be foolish. I'm not going to do things that are going to get me into trouble where I would end up in your system. I'm not going to do that. But when you are someone that will in any way defend what Officer Ben Fields did, I have no use for you in my life.
Right.
At all. None.
Right.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what your position in my life is. If you have any defense, and I'm going to be very clear about this, if you in any way want to defend what this man did, this man who is a 200-pound police officer, grown man who is trained to restrain and fight people, versus a unarmed 15-year-old girl, if you in any way, because she was unruly or because she had a smart mouth or any way, if you want to defend anything he did in any way, I have absolutely no use for you.
Yeah.
At all, ever. And I'm very clear about that. Yeah. So if you want to tell me that I'm out of my mind for saying that, call me at 804-402-2893 and we can talk about it. There's at least one other person I know who agrees with me. It's a parent at a school board meeting. I want you to hear what he said, and we're going to talk about it.
I'm going to say what most of you black males are thinking, but you're afraid to say it. You need to fire this guy immediately. That was my daughter. She is my daughter. She don't have to belong to me biologically. That officer being fired will be the least of his worries. We are sick and tired of black women being abused. You can say it's not racism all you want to, But this is going on all across this country every day. You can say it's not racism. You can say it's the student, but that student, as I understand, comes from a foster family. She didn't have a father like me who would have been out there that day to deal with that situation in the most savage kind of way. You do not touch nobody's child, whether they're white or black, in that manner. I wouldn't put my hands on a white child and throw her across the room, slam her on the floor. Her father would have every right to come and take my life if he chooses to do so. And as a father, you put your hands on mine like that. You won't have to worry about him being fired, because I will put some fire to his behind. So you guys, you are responsible for these people. Sheriff Locke, you are responsible for these people. I have no fear, none whatsoever of you, of the sheriff or any other officer, because that officer is a particular overseer. Now, I'm not a violent, crazy man. I don't have a record. But I will not tolerate this kind of insanity coming from no man touching a child in that manner. So, South Carolina, you're doing yourselves well across the world. You killed 9 people in Charleston. You shoot the young brother on Broad River Road for going to get his license and registration. And now you're beating up young girls in school. And you are thinking about firing him? He should have been gone that day. Why is he still working? So you want more men like me, who are feeling like me, to get this rage up in them to deal with this ourselves? Is that what you're forcing us to do?
Mr. Conway, threats are not a problem.
I'm not threatening. That's not a threat. I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you want more men who have this kind of feeling to be built up in them like this for treating our children like that. If you want that, you're going to get that. It's up to you to stop that. You can stop it. So it's up to you. I'm asking you that question. It's up to you and you and you and you to stop it, not me. Because this is a reaction to equal and opposite action. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Conway.
Ain't no half stepping on Marcus J. Comment.
Cause and consequences. I agree 100% of what he said. Like, personally, like, if that was my child, you know, firing him will be the least of the police's worry. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to worry about me. By any means necessary, I will protect my child. And why? My thing is, why didn't they call the parents first?
That was my question.
You know, because, like, for me, my mother would have came through that door. I would have got up.
But you know what? She don't have no mother.
So who's the guardian?
Her mother died. Her grandmother died. The child is an orphan in foster care, and she has depression and other situations going on with her. So my question is, why doesn't the school know that?
Right. And where was the counselor? That's what they there for.
They also charged the girl with resisting arrest because when she got slammed out of the chair, she hit the officer.
Okay, she defended herself. She's what? Every bit of what? Probably about
15.
No, pounds.
I would guess maybe 110 pounds, if that.
Yeah. Of course she's going to defend herself because now she's feeling attacked by this 250-some pound man.
If you look at the video, you can see when she's flung out of the chair, she reaches up and she does what appears to hit him, but you can also argue that her hand was flying because she went flying.
Right.
Rube, jump in here. What's your thoughts, man?
I mean, that dude was completely crazy. You know, there's no justification for that. There's nothing she could have done short of pulling out some sort of automatic weapon for him to fear for his life to beat up on a kid in a chair. I mean, there's nothing else. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm with that dude. He shouldn't have. When he walked off property, he should not have had a job.
Right.
You know, whether they call the parents or not or whatever, you know, she was an orphan. Somebody should have been called.
Right.
They tried to pin it on her like it was her fault. And if it wasn't for the kid who videoed it, and then that subsequent kid got in trouble for videoing it as well.
Because they was trying to hide it.
I mean,
they didn't want it to go.
Yeah, there's no other way, man. And you know, there's just no way that we should stand for that type of stupidity.
Right, and for that black teacher to sit there and let that happen.
I mean, that person's just bad.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We're getting a caller. Caller, you on the live line with the crew. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to get in on?
Hey, Marcus, how you doing? This is Larry.
What's up, Larry?
This show.
Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing?
It's good to talk to you, man. It's been a while since we heard from you here tonight. I appreciate it, man.
It's been a while. You know, listen to the topic about the young lady that got pulled out of that chair by the police officer. Yeah, that was completely 100% wrong. And, you know, and I agree with most of the comments. You know, if that was my kid, that he pulled out of the chair, there'd be some major issues going on between him and myself. Because there's, you know, I went to school and I, you know, taught for a while. And, yeah, some of those kids, some of the things teachers got to go through, dealing with kids that have no respect, no nothing for teachers, yeah. Their job is a thankless job. And unfortunately, in this day and time, you got to have resource officers that got to deal with these unruly kids. But there's a much better way of handling it, because most of these kids want the attention. And if they would have easily said, you know, hey, you know, y'all go outside the room and de-escalated that, have 3 or 4 people to talk to her, she would have got up and left or did something else. But here's my only, I guess, what I say is kind of different about that is this. We were, and you may have spoken on this, but we will get so irate and so just ready to go off. Like I listened to the guy that was in that school board meeting. We're ready to go off, you know, about these things that white people do to, you know, to the children and everything else. But by the same token, why don't we have this same type of irate and rage when we do it to each other?
Yeah.
When we have children that have no respect for one another. When you have black kids who will curse out another black woman like a black elder like it ain't nothing. When we have our kids that are out in the street raising all kind of hell. We don't get the same kind of outrage about that. It's almost like, okay, that's just how it is. When we have in our black communities the highest crime rate that we could ever have, and most of them, unfortunately, are by us, we don't get this same kind of outrage on it. But let a white man touch us, we're ready to go off and we're ready to burn the place down. But we don't do the same thing. We don't have our kids that we don't read to them at night. We don't demand that they have the same kind of excellence in school that other races have, and we will accept mediocrity. Why don't we have the same kind of outrage about that? That's my only thing about it. Now, by saying token, yeah, white officers that go out that shot their brother in South Carolina, yeah, he should be in jail, should be on death row. Yeah, those are wrongs that definitely need to be taken care of. But the same kind of outrage that we have, why not have that about that's going on in our community? We have a 1 million man march in D.C. about how we should be taking care of our own. While in Chicago, they're killing them wholesale. They're killing each other wholesale. Why do black people that go out here, we make it in life, and we try to get back to our own, yet still, one of the first things we do, we move out of our neighborhoods because it's too dangerous. You know, why don't we have that? That's my major concern. You know, when we go out, and we should definitely point out the wrongs that other races do to us. Right. But as they say, the mirror, we need to look at that mirror at ourselves also.
I 100% agree with you, Larry, and I'm going to introduce something here in a minute that I want you to comment on. So you got a minute to hold the line for a minute?
I'll hold, most definitely.
All right, hold the line and keep on listening to it. Stay right here, because I want the fellas here to address what you're saying or what they want to say about this, and then I want you to comment first on the next piece, because it's similar, and where I'm going with it, you'll understand why I want you to comment on it. Big Rube, you hear what's going on. Larry made his comment. What's yours?
I mean, it's sad, man, because and this is why I feel like I did not grow up. Where I grew up was not a, I guess I don't want to say poor or whatever, but it wasn't a low income area or whatever. My parents, I was in a suburb, so some of that stuff, to be honest, I don't know. I've never lived it. However, I see other people live it, and it's sad, And I agree that we need to take care of ourselves before we expect anybody else to take care of us. My parents expected, good grades. My parents expected me to go out in public and act like I had some sort of home training. I don't know if it's because the kids are having kids or the parents just get to a point where they don't care anymore. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it needs to be fixed. I just don't know. I feel bad, because every time you hear a football player who grew up in the hood or grew up so poor that, they would eat crackers and stuff when they were in high school, and then now they're football players and they give back to their little hometowns, and then you hear about Allen Iverson and Michael Vick, Allen Iverson, who grew up in a not so positive location and got out, right, with sports and stuff like that. And he gave back to Hampton, and Michael Vick does give back. And it's just, I don't know how to fix it.
Right.
I mean, I don't.
Well, my thought is, Larry, keep holding, because I'm going to get Jay and then I'm going to come right back to you. My thought is, we have to stick together. We don't stick together. I mean, those of us who understand the process and understand what should happen, need to be the ones at the forefront of making sure that we get together, and we need to have some sort of economic component to it, because the truth of the matter is, walking around saying how bad things are isn't going to fix things that are bad. Like, everything that we've ever done as a community in this country has always had two things. One, unity. Two, economics. Every single one. We were unified as slaves because we were slaves. You know what I mean? But we were freed because Lincoln knew that to cripple the South, he had to empower the North. Right. That's what that was about. Civil rights movement. We got on the map because of the bus boycott. But guess what? We were the original Uber. We used to take each other where we needed to go. You know what I mean? Because we wasn't spending our money with the bus company anymore. We were unified, and we kept our money. Unity, economics. So one more comment, Larry, and I'm coming right back to you. Jay, what you got?
I think as a people, we need to, as Larry was saying, that we need to go to the communities and, take a hold of everything. Because like he said, blacks killing blacks, white killing blacks, we need to uprise on everything. We need to take our community back. And it started with us. I mean, it's like you were saying, it's all about talk. We might march on City Hall for a week.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And after that week, everybody forget about what happened, and nothing else is done till something else happen. Right. We need to keep on and keep on and keep on and shove it down their throat till they get in their mind that we're not going anywhere. This is going to have to stop. Like I said, revolution. Pressure. I mean, I'm like what Malcolm X, by any means necessary. I'm sorry to say.
Pressure bust pipes.
Yeah.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. If you want to get in on our discussion, call us at 804-402-2893. Larry, here's why I held you over. I had an opportunity to tweet back and forth with a brother, and I'm hoping he's listening, because I asked him to listen, and he's been patient. We've gotten to this at the 43-minute mark of the show. But if the brother who was tweeting with me over the weekend is listening, this is what we were talking about. Larry, I introduced over the weekend a piece of discussion where we were talking about Raven Symone and Don Lemon. And the reason why I wanted to hold you, I'm glad you called, and the reason why I wanted to hold you over was because something that you said, I was going to talk about this anyway, but when you said that we get up in arms about black people having issues with whites, we wild out, we act crazy, and we get all mad and do all that kind of stuff when it's white folks, but we remain silent when it's black people. Mm-hmm. Reason why I held you over is Raven Symone and Don Lemon. Raven Symone has made a lot of comments in the last few weeks and months that have gotten folks upset. Most recently, her with the black names. I wouldn't hire someone with a black name. That was kind of her thing. And then Don Lemon last week, when the story came up with the young sister who got thrown out of the chair, Don Lemon was one of those people that said we need to wait to see what went on before all of that. And you got people who have petitions out now to have Raven Symone removed from The View and to have Don Lemon removed from CNN. They were created, from what I understand, and if I'm wrong, please someone correct me, but they were created by people of color, and it's mostly people of color who are up in arms with Don Lemon and Raven Symone. I got very strong opinions about this. I'd like to have yours. I want you to have your comment, and then I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. Couple things. Number one, let me step back for 1 second. One of the guys that you were, so I wrote down just 2 words. One of the guys, I think he did a big rude. He said one thing, and that's one thing that we all have to really think about. He said the word parents. And that kind of got to me when he said parents. He was fortunate enough to have parents that made sure he did what he had to do. Now, unfortunately, I'm a product of, my father didn't raise me. My grandmother raised me. And she put the fear of God in me that if I stepped out of the way, I knew what was going to happen. Parents, that's as young black families, we need to understand what it is to have parents. Second word, community. When I grew up, we had a community. Mr. Jones at the end of the street could tear my tail up when he caught me in the wrong place, just like Miss Jackson at the other end.
Right.
But we don't have that anymore.
Right. But
talking about the Raven Symone and the other guy, here's the thing about this.
Don Lemon from CNN.
Don Lemon. Okay. And I didn't hear the Raven Symone one, but I heard the Don Lemon.
Yeah.
And we should actually, and I don't know why we get upset about that when the guy said, well, let's hold now. Okay, let's look at the first thing. Yeah, every last one of us was so mad about the fact that a girl got pulled out of the chair. Yeah, I understand that. But then, why we get upset when we want to say, let's hear both sides? Let's listen to both sides. Let's see what actually happened. Because what I noticed in the room was, when that girl was being dragged out of the chair, even the kids were in shock or whatever, but nobody stood up to her and said, oh, no, that ain't right, or usually they jump up, hoop and holler. Nobody said anything.
Right.
The kids were like, wow, okay, that's happening.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, I want to hear both sides. I want to see what was going on. You know what? Let's not be reactionary about what just happened. Right. Like we see the first thing and let's all just go off and everything. Instead of seeing what actually happened, we can discipline him, say, you're fired, you're done, whatever. We need to take a look at everything. Because a circle is one round, it goes round and round. A circle ain't just half of it. We need to see the other side also. But this is a great discussion, and we need to have forums like this. Your show is the forum that we need to have, that we all need to listen to. I'm not going to agree with everything you say. You should agree with everything I said. Because we've had many discussions in the past, you and I have.
Yes, we have.
Let us as a people not react to everything that we see at face value. Let's look behind what's going on. Let us be, instead of being the ones that's talked about, let's be the ones that be about it. Right. Let us finally take hold of what's going on in our families, in our communities. Because if it don't, we always talk about lost generation of kids. We have a lost generation of a race of people. Listen, I'm going to listen to your show, man. I'm going to definitely be into it. I'm off on Monday nights now. Specifically, to listen to your show, I'm going to be a regular caller.
I got it, man, and I appreciate it. I was wondering when I was going to hear back from you. I appreciate your wisdom, and I appreciate you listening, man. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Y'all guys take it easy.
You got it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We got a lot to react to, but we're going to do that in a minute because just walking in is our sister. She joins us here on the show of Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. It's our sister Dee Dee is up in this joint. What's up, girl?
Hey, what's up? I'm so sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's all good, man. We held it down. I think Jay did okay. I think he did okay. And then, of course, Big Rube over there, who will make sure you get your formal introduction here in a break. It's the first time you've had the misfortune of meeting him, so it's all good. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. Now, you walked in at a point where you've heard enough. I know you've heard enough, and you and I have talked enough in social media and offline about the young lady who had the situation in the classroom with the officer. And one thing, and we're going to go back and forth between this and the Don Lemon and Raven Symone thing, so I kind of want to have the holistic conversation on those two things. But one thing that I do want to introduce that I didn't get an opportunity to introduce, and this is for you, Didi, you're up first, and I want Jay and Big Rube to jump in here. But you had students that are protesting the firing of Officer Ben Fields. You had about 100 students of Spring Valley High School in South Carolina walked out of their classes on Friday, offering measured support for the Officer Ben Fields, of course, who was fired. Videos and photos posted in social media shows that it was a peaceful rally. It occurred around 10 a.m. in the school's atrium, which is racially diverse. There was some students who wore T-shirts reading "Free Fields" and "Bring Back Fields." There were some black kids. There were some white kids. This was not a racially divided protest. And so, Didi, there's a whole lot to address that's on the floor now. Jump in here. What's your thoughts? Because you and I have talked. I know you got a lot to say on the subject.
What do you want me to respond to?
Whatever you want. We can talk about the young girl having her situation with the officer. We know that he got fired. We can talk about the kids who are now supporting said officer. There's a lot here that we can jump into. We're going to talk about Don and Raven as well, because these fellas hadn't had an opportunity to address that, and neither have I. I gave Larry an opportunity to do that, and I want the brother who I was tweeting with over the weekend to have an opportunity. I don't know if he's listening. He hasn't let me know if he is, but if he is, he's welcome to call. The line is open now, 804-402-2893. I didn't want to call him out by name. I didn't get his permission to do so, but if he calls in, he can reveal himself. But there's a lot on the floor, so we'll jump in and kind of share whatever your thoughts are.
It's so funny because after I calmed down this morning, first thing on my timeline was someone on someone else's page, actually, how they were talking about, this same thing, how we jump to conclusions. And my thing, what other conclusion was I supposed to jump to? I'm sorry. I have children that, and I told you, I literally broke down with them and said, I know not to disrespect teachers, a school resource officer, but you also know that if something isn't right, yes, you can say something, and you know how to say it in a way that it's not going to come off, well, you're being disrespectful. It's peaceful protest. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing people say all she had to do was leave. That's bull. I'm sorry. That's not justification for that cop, that sheriff, actually. He's a sheriff. That wasn't justification for him to manhandle her. None. Yes, hey, get up out of your seat. Let's go. But he, in her desk, flipped her and then threw her across the room. There's no justification for that. And any parent that's saying all she had to do was get up and leave, she was being disrespectful. How would you feel if that were your child who just that particular day said, you know what did I do wrong? Why do I have to leave? And that particular school resource officer or sheriff who was in the class that day decided, I'm sick of your... Can I say shit?
We try to avoid it, but we say
it
sometimes.
Shit. Stuff today.
Yeah, I got you.
What if your child is that one child that set him off, and that happened to him? If you're still telling me you're okay with an officer flipping your child across the room all because your kid said, "Why do I need to leave?" You're a great parent.
Yeah, no, I can dig it. Ain't no hashtag on Marcus J, because when I spoke on the subject, I said anybody who in any way wants to justify what the officer did, if they want to reply to me, well, all she had to do is, or she should have, or any of that, I got no use for you.
Yes.
I got no use for you, because that tells me that you and I have we don't have anything socially in common. No. If you think that there in any way was any justification for what happened to her based upon anything that she did. There is nothing that she did that warranted that. And this is where we get into the discussion about the difference between law and order and common sense. You know what I mean? Because law and order would say she didn't comply with an order, so she needs to be removed. That's what law and order would say.
Yes.
But there's no common sense in that.
None. And the thing is, that's what they're doing to our adults. You didn't do what I told you to do. I'm taking it upon myself to do whatever it is by any means necessary to get you to comply.
Yep.
And she was abused. She was physically abused. That was violence.
Yep.
They're doing that to our adults.
And I even look at it this way, Rube. I want you to jump in here. We're going to move it into the Don and Raven thing here before we take our first break. But this officer, I would be willing to. He's got children, and they also trying to justify him by saying, "Well, he's dating a black woman."
Oh,
okay,
did you hear that?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's dating a black woman. Okay, so he's well versed in beating up black girls. Okay, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I bet you he teaches his boys not to beat up girls.
Exactly.
Because most men do. So, but anyway, we'll unless you guys want to jump in, we'll move on from that. I do want to go back to the petition to remove Raven Symone and Don Lemon because I have very strong opinions about that. What are your thoughts on the petition, Ruben, to remove Don Lemon and Raven Symone from their positions in CNN and The View on ABC? What's your thoughts?
As far as Don Lemon goes, you know, the interesting part, I'm sitting here and I'm really thinking about it, and I'm just like, this went from a man beating up a child, not just right now, but it just has gone to a white man beating up a black child. Now, I mean, for me, I'm kind of with Don Lemon to the point where it's wrong, but I want more information. I'm not just because that's his job. His job is a journalist. He wants to know all information. That doesn't mean that he says that, oh, yeah, this is real cool. You know, I agree with this and yada, yada, yada. Now, Raven Symone, you know, there are a whole bunch of other comments that she could have been fired for. I agree partially with what their petition is for. Not in this instance, but she said a whole bunch of dumb stuff that would almost warrant why are you still there. Because not that The View's intellectual show of any means, but I mean the whole name situation. I understand, but there's some things you just shouldn't say on national television. You know, and I do have a belief in that. Even though we are in the media and we are on radio, you know, due to what I do on a daily basis, you know, there are some things I will not put out publicly, you know, just because that's for me.
You're trying to eat. You ain't trying to lose your gig. I got
you.
Yeah.
So with Don Lemon, nah, they're stupid. Hence why they only got like 36,000 people signing that. That's not gonna fly. Raven Symone, I mean, there are a whole bunch of other things that they could get her on saying some stupid stuff. Because I unfortunately have been seeing her name way too much in the news or anything ever since she got on The View about a whole bunch of different other stuff.
Yeah.
While I agree partially with some of the things she says, there's some times where you just don't speak that on CBS. BET, maybe. CBS, no.
ABC, but I got you.
Oh, yeah, whatever it is.
And I'll get to it in my comment, but you didn't address what I was hoping that you would address. It's fine. I want to see if Jay does, because there's an angle that I was hoping that I didn't have to be the one to put out, and so I will if I have to. But we'll see.
My thing is this. I think all of this, I might not agree with what they said, and I totally don't agree with Raven. I just think she's just an idiot.
Yeah, I question
just put it right out there.
Well, so.
But all of that falls under free speech. They can say what they want to say.
I mean, it's free speech, but
let's
just be real. All speech ain't free.
I don't think, neither one of them should be fired for speaking their mind. That's how they feel. So, I mean, that's what news is. That's what, talk shows and viewers like. If that was the case, a lot of us could be fired because we don't like certain things, and we might say some things that people don't like.
Yeah.
What you
know
think,
what I'm
Didi?
saying?
Like I told you before, I think Raven Symone is a non-you-know-what factor. So she said what she said to remain. I personally think she said it to stay relevant. In the world. Who cares what Raven Symone says except the people on The View? I don't give two.
And I don't think they care either.
What that did was bring up ratings for them. You know, now people are talking about The View and what Raven Symone said. Who gives a rat's ass about her? Don Lemon, he doesn't do anything for me. He never has. And like Jay said, not all journalists, but he's a journalist because he works for CNN, I guess. Right. But free speech. Yes, we have the right to say. Well, I don't believe that. We don't have the right to say whatever we want to say. I don't believe that because there are some things that you can say that are going to incite people to riot.
Right.
There's free speech, but there's also laws that say you can't do that.
Yeah, I think you can say what you want, but there are consequences for what you say.
Right. Free speech isn't free.
Right.
It's not.
No, I've always said, you can say what you want, but you have to deal with it. It may not be legal, but you might have to deal with it. Tiffany is listening to us in Jersey City. Tiffany says Raven's comments are beyond controversial. Her comments are straight up ignorant. It's not even about agreeing or disagreeing with her comments. She's just out of touch with reality. She continues. Says that she's not a fan of Raven. Latoya is listening to us in Korea. Latoya says instead of giving her more attention by circulating the petition, I wonder if people thought of something easier. Turn the channel. Petitions are great, but ratings are what networks pay more attention to. Let those drop, and people will change. Here's my thought, and here's what nobody brought up. Larry alluded to it a little while ago, how we get outraged by certain things, but this one to me is flipped, because all of a sudden now we want to get all mad, we want to get up in arms about Raven saying things that she's saying, and she's so offensive, and then Don Lemon, he's saying what he's saying, but don't old black people get all mad about Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and all that kind of stuff, right? What you scared for? You want to sign a petition to get rid of Raven Symone. You want to sign a petition to get rid of Don Lemon, but these folks been online on the air saying inflammatory, race baiting, crazy stuff for as long as any of us can remember. And now all of a sudden, some of us have got a little bit of consciousness, and we want to be indignant about our how offended we are, and we want to get Raven and Don off the air. We want to sign a petition and share it in social media, showing that we paying attention. And we want to get rid of Don. We want to get rid of Raven. You whack to me if you're doing that, for real. Because the truth is, you want to be a part of something as opposed to actually doing something. Right. Because Don is a non-factor. Raven is a non-factor. Yep. And like Latoya said, if you ain't feeling them, don't watch. Turn it off. Don't pay attention to it. Right. Because the truth is, Raven ain't going nowhere. You know why? Because she say dumb shit and people watching to see what she going to say dumb next. Yep. Don is on there because he's a token black. He's a handsome black man who goes on TV and he puts out what the white folk want him to put out. He ain't going nowhere. Right. He ain't going nowhere. So go ahead and sign your petition. He ain't going nowhere. He's not. But you ain't signing you ain't starting no petition to get rid of Hannity, who just compared Black Lives Matter to the KKK. You ain't signing no petition to get rid of Rush Limbaugh, who went on a crazy rant in the last couple of years about everything from Eric Garner to Mike Brown to Trayvon Martin, justifying George Zimmerman, killing him, and all that kind of stuff. You ain't signing no petition to them. But you want to get the black people off TV because they offended you. You don't like the fact that she said she wouldn't hire Miss Watermelon Pia or whatever the hell her name was. You don't like the fact that Don Lemon said, you know what, we need to get all the facts. Hey, look, Raven, you dumb and you whack as hell for saying that when you on TV with your orange hair and you like girls. Truth of the matter is, you a black woman who's a lesbian with a jacked up name yourself. You don't get to judge other people. Don Lemon, you a gay black man on national television spewing middle stuff. So you're not perfect either. And neither is Marcus J. I got issues too. But the point of the matter is, you got all these so-called keyboard gangster, socially conscious people that want them off the TV. But they ain't saying nothing about the white folk who the ones that got the power. So what you scared for? That's my question.
Exactly.
And nobody addressed it. You know, I'm not just saying y'all, I'm just saying in social media. Right. Nobody's addressing that. Like, what's the deal? So my brother, in social media, when you was trying to go in on me and wanted to know, you know, and I'll read your comments without saying your name, but blacks not boycotting hip-hop. Bobby Shmurda rapped about shooting N-words and selling crack. And but Raven and Don shouldn't be at the top of what, because I said to him, well, we should boycott anything that's a detriment to us. And he replies to me, but Raven and Don shouldn't be at the top of what's a detriment to us and whatnot. I said, well, listen to our show tomorrow. And he replies, well, I've listened to both the shows. This targets freedom of speech. And I'm like, dude, you're not paying attention to what I'm saying to you. You know? First of all, I simply put out the question. I haven't even offered an opinion. That's why I told him, listen to the show. So here's my opinion. So if you're listening to us, call me up, 804-402-2893, or tweet me back, and I'll read your comment, because I'm not talking about you behind your back. I just wanted to make the point that I didn't go into no opinions in social media because I wanted to be able to say this very, very clearly and very, very concisely on the air. I ain't playing. I'm not playing with these people no more, and I could really care less what people think about what I'm saying. Because truth is, you either with me or you're not, and if you're not with me, then you're listening to the wrong show. Ain't no Steppin with Marcus J, live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna ask what the hell. I got 3 stories, y'all, that's going to really make you tilt your head and say, what the hell? Then my brother Big Rube, he's going to take over the show as he does every single first Monday with his segment. It's called The Round Table. And Big Rube, you said The Round Table is going to have us making, not the face you making right now, right? Because if we're going to make that face.
No, I'm sorry, man. I'm still stuck on, he said Bobby Shmurda?
Yeah, he said Bobby
Really?
Shmurda. Yeah, he did.
Really? Dude's been in jail for a year.
He did.
Come on, move on.
Yeah,
move on to the present.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he said. I mean,
That's his boy.
I mean, hey, look, you know, he said what he said, and I respect what he said. He didn't read what I put out. He wanted to challenge me on an opinion that I never gave. But again, I'm giving him an opportunity because I asked him to call, and I hope he's listening so he can call and we can talk. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial. Ain't no #, Marcus J, live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. You want to be down, holler at us. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to ask about religion. We're going to ask, was it appropriate to be suspended? And they robbed who? Yeah. Next segment. Stay with us. Be back in a minute.
Prepare for your future. Purchase your term, whole life, and mortgage insurance by licensed insurance agent Joseph Lewis. Insurance costs can be used later to help pay off mortgage, cars, credit card debt, college, and medical expenses. Protect all of your investments. Right now, rates are low. Lock in your low rate by contacting Joseph Lewis at 804-397-6277 or email him at josephtLewis@aol.com.